Hey, what's up? Welcome to the podcast. My voice is kind of gone right now. We did a lot of yelling yesterday, and I think that is partially why my voice is gone. Niko,
Probably.
why did we do a bunch of yelling yesterday?
We had the Smah Tournament.
And okay, so
which is the best
the
day,
2024 annual
bigger
Smash
event
Tournament.
than the NBA Finals, a bigger event than the Super Bowl.
Those events don't even compare.
They
They're
do
like
not compare.
they're like
Hold on, are you guys-
flatlined on this logarithmic
Are you
scale.
guys opening with this with the intention of revealing the winner?
So that's kind of what I actually wanted to ask. Do we spoil this? Is this a spoiler stream for the
I don't think
Smash
you're-
Tournament?
I don't
Because I
think
think
you're
everyone
supposed to.
watching won't really want to be spoiled on that.
Yeah, I don't think you really want to spoil that.
Yeah, we don't need to say who the winner is, but we can still talk about it.
I'm down for that. We can talk about that.
No,
All I'm going to say is that I did really,
at that.
really well.
no. Oh, so well that you no. That's funny.
No secrets. I guess that's as much as we can talk about.
That's it.
That's it.
Watch the number of people actually like tuning in actually drop to half. Just
Yeah.
in
That's
case.
it. Nope.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, we had the Smash Tournament yesterday. It'll probably up on the Node channel in like a couple weeks, probably. Did D say when he was going to get that up?
He said sometime
Christmas.
right before
Christmas, yeah.
Christmas.
It's the Christmas video now for Node. Is
All right,
the Smash
all right.
Tournament? Yeah,
Mics are pretty quiet
I
though.
got it. I got it.
Michaels are pretty quiet.
Yeah, I played again as Bowser.
Yep.
Uh,
I changed it up this time.
wait, you did?
Yeah, I did not play Ganondorf.
Wait, who'd you play?
You don't remember who I played?
No, I'm blanking right now. I do. I'm sure I do, but I'm blanking
I
right
played
now.
Wolf.
That's right. I did know
Yeah.
that. I did remember that. Yeah.
Yep. And we
I
had some
think-
really good matchups here. We got Wes came back for the tournament.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Wes
he
came
was here.
back.
Cliff came back. Clint came back. Clint had been training for the tournament.
Hattie.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, I could tell. He did well. He did really well. Until he went up against me again. Our,
It's not a spoiler, by the way.
Our one willing friend Alex came in. Let's
Yep.
see who else did we
Jan.
have.
Peter?
Yeah, Peter and Jan.
came into the office with. So Jan knew that we were all going to be here for the tournament, and Jan is this game that you guys are probably familiar with, where anytime he arrives at corridor, he tries to shoot all of us with a Nerf gun to see if he can effectively breach and enter the building.
He takes it very seriously.
And we could generally take it pretty seriously too. But he knew that everybody here would be ready and strapped. So he brought his biggest Nerf gun, which is this giant, basically top-fed paintball gun-esque, like rotary shooter.
It's
Rival gun.
it's called the Prometheus.
Prometheus is just ding, 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 ding.
It's literally just a bucket of Nerf balls with a gun on the bottom.
Basically, what I want the Nerf Drone 2.0 to be.
Yeah. And now a fan
Maybe
sent
next
us
year.
two legendary Nerf guns. Two incredibly legendary Nerf guns. So first off, one of the best Nerf guns is the Nerf Hammer Shot. Why? Because it's the only Nerf gun that you can shoot and load with one hand. So somebody took that and altered it to use short darts with a new barrel, and it can hold 16 darts. So it went from 5 to 16 darts. So you can shoot one-handed with a modified spring and like a perfect. It's
Wait, how
basically
did it go from 5 to 16?
because they took 5 and they turned it into 8 by
Oh,
expanding where the
okay,
darts
okay,
can sit.
okay.
And they're double stacked because they're half darts, and they're designed in a way so that when you shoot the double stack, the first dart shoots out and the second dart moves up into position, ready to be shot out next.
Which I'm very surprised actually works as well as it does.
I am too because it
Yeah.
shoots better than a regular.
Now, the
Nerf
guy who
gun.
sent it to us, was that his design? I can't
Mhm.
remember.
Mhm.
Yeah, he actually designed it. And it's like basically a hammer shot Nerf blaster, but the barrel is a 3D printed
Mhm.
PETG print. And I guess he just got the tolerances so flawlessly good that there's just enough pressure to shoot the first one out or the front one, and the second one behind it like
Yeah.
gets into position without actually going too far or not far enough.
It's
Yeah.
the
Which is
non
crazy.
It's the non-California legal Nerf pistol.
Yeah.
But I had that on me. You know, that's one of our legendary guns here. I had it on me waiting for Jan. Of course, he comes to the door, just starts firing, starts dropping those Nerf balls. We all duck for cover. We start shooting back at him. And it's just one of those things where like nothing hits him. The darts go right by him and he just starts like suppressing people with this Prometheus Nerf gun. The thing is, it's also so inaccurate that it generally doesn't, as long as you're behind cover, it can't hit you. So it feels like a video game where you're behind cover and there's like
Yeah.
hundreds of bullets bouncing around you, but none of them are actually hitting you. But Jan proceeded to eliminate everybody one by one on the bottom floor, eventually getting me as well. And
Well, So then I showed up right after him. So I opened the door to see Jan's back, and I'm like, I don't have my Nerf blaster on me. Oh no, this is the perfect opportunity to shoot him in the back. And right as I'm like, oh, what do I do? He goes running out behind the Christmas tree over there towards the loading dock door, and I go sprinting up to the stairs. Because my blaster's at my desk, so I'm going upstairs to grab
I
it.
was shooting at him. He started dodging, so I started shooting at him.
Nice. So you were providing me cover. And so I get up to the top of the stairs, and all of a sudden, I get shot center mass right at the top of the stairs from the direction of the TV. I was like, what? And I look up and Wes is just grinning at me like, hey, hey, hey. I was like, Wes! No!
I don't know Wes was
Wow.
betraying.
Oh, man.
That's
my
not a
gosh.
betrayal. He is breaching too.
Yeah.
He was breaching too at the same time. They came in from both
I
entrances.
don't know. All I know is that
They
Wes shot
coordinate?
me and he's like, gotcha.
Well, that's it. That's how the teams are, decided.
I
It's
didn't know
whoever
Wes
is
and Jan were
breaching.
breaching at the same time.
If you are arriving at the premises, then you
Yeah,
are
you're on
on
the same
one team.
team.
You're on the breaching team.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you have alliances or allegiances.
Yeah, so
Wow.
now I'm up there, and you hadn't been gotten yet,
No,
Niko.
and I-
So
now
you're
I've ran
hiding
out-
behind the React couch as like literally pop, 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 nonstop, just blasting around you. And then at one point, you stood up, and I watched your glorious death as you just get blasted probably 24 times in the chest, and you did the whole like shoulder shake. You're like, oh, and he claps down on the couch, and Jan's like, yeah, and he goes and runs over, and now he's aiming back up towards the mezzanine and everyone that direction.
Yeah, he's taken out like 6 or 7 people at corridor, and I at this point I was like, he's gonna get a team wipe, and we were all ready for him. And if Jan gets a team wipe when we're all ready for him, like we will not hear the end of it for the rest of our lives. Truly,
Yeah.
he will take it to the grave. And I'm like, there's no hope. All is lost. It's like there's a couple people upstairs like Nerf pistols. They don't stand a chance. He's gonna go up there with like a minigun.
Yeah.
And at that moment, as I'm like lying on the couch and looking at all the dead bodies, the door opens and it's Matt and Alex with 2 rifles, and they step in a coordinated breach, and they both take aim and they shoot Jan at the same time like Splinter Cell operatives.
Yeah.
Both bullets go right into Jan's back and they take him down. It's just like boom.
They were ready. They somehow
Yeah.
knew that action was already going down inside, and they were ready. Matt had his key card, opened the door. They both went in.
Well, Matt was upstairs when it started, so he ran outside and around the building and
Oh,
took
okay,
Alex
okay.
with him.
that
Yeah.
explains
So cool.
it.
Yeah.
Yep, and that was it. And Jan was stopped. Yep.
Shot in the back,
Although
guys
that's
won.
the thing, Alex,
like the vermin he is.
kind of a turncoat. He should have been a
on the
breacher.
breaching team.
Well,
well, I mean,
technically Jan was already here,
yeah.
so Jan was on the bad team for him.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
There's 3 teams now.
Yeah, I mean,
guess.
if Jan turned around, he would have absolutely tried to shoot both of those guys.
So
It was just
yeah, I guess the rules get more
premeditated
complicated.
self-defense.
we got a viewer from Turkey, or sorry, from Hungary
Premeditated
on
self-defense.
on the stream. Takuros, very cool. Hi, Takuros. Yeah.
So last week we had a podcast, and I had mentioned that I was going to this Dragonsteel Nexus. Sam, can you say that for me? I love the way you say that.
Welcome to the Dragonsteel Nexus, where man and beast align.
And there's one story I want to tell from this trip. It was a really fun time. There's like 8,000 nerds descend on this convention center in Salt Lake City. And I was on like 4 different panels. They were all fun. And of course, I get recognized a lot at these sort of things. And so I'm taking a lot of pictures, a lot of selfies with people. And one of my best friends who happens to live in Salt Lake City was with me. And right at the beginning, he started counting the number of people who recognized me. And I was like, no. That's not the number you want to count. The number that you want to count is the number of people saying, wow, you're taller than I expected.
Oh.
Because that's what always happens at these things. I'm always getting these comments like, you're a lot taller than I expected. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. It's the number one people say to me by far. And so we go the rest of the day. No one says it at all. We go into the night and we're at this event. It's an actual like ball based out of like the story of the book. There's like this wedding that happens in the book, and everyone's dressed up formal where I've got like a really nice suit on and all this stuff. And finally this guy comes over and says hi to me there, and he starts talking, and he's like, they're like, it's so weird seeing you guys in real life. It's like a surreal thing. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I'm also just so used to just assuming everyone is like my height when I see them online, but when I meet them in real life, they're not the same height as me. And that's delusional because I am 7'2". This guy, shout out to Tim, was the tallest man I've seen in my entire life. It is such a bizarre feeling to be standing there at full height with my neck bent all the way back, looking up, making eye contact with the guy who's literally a foot taller than me. It was such a bizarre and surreal experience for me. And he's a cool guy. His girlfriend or wife or whoever was also like really tall. She's like 6'4". So it was just like, wow. And so it was just ironic that after all of this like preamble to my friend is like, oh yeah, you got to check the number of people who say, oh, I'm surprised how tall you are. The one person who said anything was basically saying, you're shorter than I expected.
That's kind of funny.
I was like, oh my God. But yeah, no, he was cool. It was a really fun event. Walking around. And I think that's partially why my voice is a little gone too. I did a lot of talking and then a lot of yelling yesterday. But yeah.
Nice.
So that was my one story that I really wanted to share from the event.
Nice.
That's cool.
Have you guys heard of the book Hiding the Elephant?
With mirrors?
Well,
No, I was making a joke. No, I have not. Is it a magic book?
Yes, it's about like the turn of the century magic, like Houdini and like the people that came before him that kind of like inspired him and like.
I think I've heard of this book.
Yeah, it's really, really good actually. The whole time I was reading it, I couldn't help but feel the analogs to like VFX YouTubers. Like
really?
Yeah.
Because of the performance element of it?
Mm-hmm. And how like people are constantly like looking at what other people are doing and then trying to like implement the techniques into their own work. And then like they explained like one magician would come up with tricks, or he'd come up with his acts by discovering a technique and then writing a performance or like a pattern, a routine around that technique. Whereas another magician wanted to basically tell a cool story, and then he'd use whatever effect he needed to do that cool story, regardless if it was fancy or not fancy. It might be a simple, like, magic trick, gag, or it might be a really fancy custom built gag. It didn't matter. It's whatever they needed to be dramatic for the moment. And it was weird being like, oh yeah, that's how we come up with videos. Where it's like, sometimes it's like, oh yeah, we came up with a cool effect. Let's come up with a cool storyline around it, and then try to package it and sell it to as many people online as we can, which is effectively vaudeville, modern vaudeville, right? Like, because they would have these
vaudeville?
music halls. They go around, they do these little acts, which would basically be like, you have your thumbnail title clickbait to get people into these places to pay like $1 to go see this act. To be like sawing a woman in half, or like the floating head. That's your classic clickbait thumbnail from like 1910.
Okay, yeah.
Houdini's going to make an elephant disappear.
And it's like a bunch of like guys in top hats going, oh!
Bystanders going by me like, I don't want to see that. It's clickbait. View bait. Ticket bait.
Yeah.
Bait.
That's funny. It's like where our monocles are popping off. That's the thumbnail.
Yeah. And then like older magicians were like, that's not how you do magic. Magic's all about telling a crazy story about human spirituality or love and loss and death. And they use like mirrors to make a ghost, And,
The younger crowd's like, stop gatekeeping magic.
Yeah. Seriously.
The future is now, old man.
Yep.
That's
and they'd
funny.
constantly be like, I don't know, Houdini had this really weird thing where he was constantly trying to like expose magicians.
Really?
Yeah. He was like, this guy's a fraud. He never came up with any of his tricks, and he just stole all his tricks from this guy. Or yeah. It's kind of weird.
Wow, I didn't know.
There's like this really weird.
Was he like spiteful? Was he just like bitter?
I think so. I think he wanted to be like number one so badly that he was just like spiteful towards everybody else. Unless like because he went from like this like admiring these like guys that inspired him to become magicians to like he wanted to be number one. So once he got up there, he started spiting all of them because he didn't want them to be better than him. It was weird. Also, there was this I read about this theater in France. I think it's like the Grand Guignol or something like that. I can't quite remember the name, but it was like the first like slasher movie like vibe to appear in like entertainment, where it's like they would do gory kills and like, spooky things, like somebody would have their guts all over because they got cut in the stomach with a sword and then they chopped their head off. There's blood everywhere. And it was your original slasher film.
How did audiences react to that?
Were they like,
yeah, more?
No, I mean,
or they're like,
it was in Paris, and like you'd be the edgy goth type of the 1910s to go there. Like that'd be your,
Okay.
Yeah.
Or they're
That's
like,
funny.
oh, this reminds me of the French Revolution.
So that was
I guess that was a couple hundred years before that.
that
but
was
still.
also where, because practical effects and visual effects come from magic, right?
yeah,
And that
yeah.
was like your first practical effects of like gore. I mean,
That's
you
funny.
have practical effects in theater, but like that's where like they're really tuning it up and be like, wait a minute. Latex rubber lets us do this crazy stuff. You're like, a lot of that's coming from that theater, which is crazy.
Interesting.
cool.
So there's your practical effects. You got your visual effects with the magic. You got your practical effects with the Guignol Theater in Paris. Yeah, Hated Milk Machine, Grand Guignol. Yeah, it's weird. It's really crazy because
Guignol.
it's super analogous to YouTube right now. It was very strange. Like, it's just you replace vaudeville music halls with like YouTube algorithm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wonder if we'll see the same sort of evolution from YouTube. Like from
yeah.
like movies in the 1910s to modern day Hollywood.
Oh yeah, things will change.
YouTube
but,
now to whatever it will be in 80 years.
Yeah, some
or
things change, but also
20
some
years.
things don't change. Yeah.
That's cool. That's super cool.
So Sam, you're all finished with Big Mario, Big Luigi.
Dude,
I
Big
am.
Mario.
Big Luigi. Yeah,
Luigi
I
the
had to switch
Titan.
the title because I mean Luigi's in the thumbnail, and it's Luigi's a hot name these days. So I was like, yeah, why not commit? Hopefully it gets more
Yeah.
eyeballs.
Oh boy. Wait, hold up. You changed the name to Big Luigi?
Well, you know what? Like, I got a little carried
You should
away.
have changed the name to Big Luigi's Mansion.
I call it right now. It's sitting at Luigi the Titan because everyone's been commenting about how it reminded them of Attack on Titan. And so I was just
that's
like,
fair.
look, Luigi's in the thumbnail. Let's call him that. Like, I don't think the POV GoPro thing is necessarily eye-catching or interesting people
Yeah.
right now. There's been so many first-person videos made over the last 15 years.
Yeah, there is that.
It's like I want to sell it more on like a searchable term and Attack on Titan. I feel like that kind of helps it. But
Mhm.
it's cool.
It's a very good video.
Thanks.
It really, like, a lot of the comments were saying this feels like old school Corridor, and it's
Yeah.
like, as much as I want to say we've been doing the same thing the whole time, it's like it also does feel like old school Corridor.
It's
Back when it was
truly-
like it was basically just a music video.
It's just yeah.
When it's like, hey, I have this cool new VFX technique or this new type of technology that can enable this new thing, and it's like, all right, we make a video around it, but there's not really any dialogue, just some fun music and some fun visuals.
Yeah, totally. Super fun to make. I'm really happy with it. But like my big lesson this year is, we can't make the videos we used to make if we want to survive on YouTube right now. I think that's the big thing. Like for me anyways, like,
I thought we learned that lesson a few years ago, though.
well, I don't know. I mean, like 2019 was a bonkers year for the Corridor channel. Like
Fair.
everything, we're releasing stuff every 1 to 2 months.
I mean, we also had
And
2 Bosstown videos.
the majority
at
of
least
those
a couple,
videos
like 1 or 2
are-
Premtech videos was
yeah.
2019.
The majority of those videos are like over 20 million. Some are at 50, some are at 100. It's like,
yeah,
it's crazy.
that is insane.
It's crazy. And obviously we stopped making videos in 2020 because everyone was afraid of catching COVID.
No, we made the Domino video.
That technically
In the middle of COVID.
You're right. But that was like basically it after that point, it felt like. And then it basically turned into like all the mashup videos, which some of those
Sure,
did
yeah.
very well too.
Yeah.
But unfortunately the mashup videos
Willy
kind of like
Wonka, Rated R, Spider-Man.
I feel like it like messed with that pattern a little bit of like what we were creating previously. Because that's a very different style of video. That's it's a clip show. Everyone's gonna edit a little bit and
Mhm.
it's never gonna be, it only lives. Sorry, it's only good if everyone submitting clips puts maximum effort into it, so to speak. It's not like a singular vision or voice
Right.
or idea or concept ever.
Vision
and so-
montage.
So in a way, they can be kind of hit or miss too, because of that. But yeah. Anyway, but that's the thing. It's like because it's like all those comments are like, yeah, it's a classic video. It's like yeah, it totally is actually in a sense. Like
Yeah.
if we're talking about specifically like the 2013 to 2016 era,
I'd say 2010 to 2016.
or that if you want. Either way,
I did notice in the behind the scenes video, it was showing some older videos. It showed Fart Attack, which was I think 2013 or whatever, and then it showed graphic violence,
Yeah.
Mhm.
also listed at 2013. So I think he made a mistake because that
Awesome.
video was definitely, I'm pretty sure 2010.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Yeah, that was
That was
like-
one of your guys' earliest
like our,
videos.
like,
yeah,
like in your
fourth
first
video.
5, I
that's a
think.
big whoopsie. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like I'm sitting here going like, man, like this stuff is still so sick and like it's a cool video and I'm really happy everyone really enjoyed it. But it's like from like you know, I don't know, getting out there perspective, it's, you know, not like, you know, the React show is better like than like what this is getting right now. So
Yeah, but who cares?
I mean, I as a person whose salary is based on ad revenue, I do deeply care. I mean, as an artist, it's also really fun to do.
Well, from a corridor video perspective, like, I mean, the video's got hundreds of thousands of views already. It's going to keep getting views. Like,
Totally.
You know, it's not like lots of people are seeing it.
Exactly. But like, it's nice to. It's great. Like personally, I felt like I haven't found what makes an impact post 2020. That's what I'm still searching for. I feel like I had my finger on it for we all did for quite a while, and we still do in our own ways here. But like me personally, like since 2020, it's like I don't really know what makes a good video anymore, and I'm still trying to search for that.
Well, that's so subjective too. Like good video.
Yeah.
YouTube is obviously incentivizing longer videos now. That's partially why we even switched over to trying to make longer videos to begin with. You know, 2016, 18, 19.
Totally.
But now, even in particular, like our YouTube rep keeps telling us is like, try to make your videos 20 minutes or longer.
I know. Well,
it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Dang, that's hard.
Yeah, but like that's the thing. It's like I guess it's just like, yeah, what's that connection or that like that deeper, you know, thing. And maybe it's mostly just because I think the stuff I personally have been making this year has been a little bit more light, very light kind of stuff. You know, we're doing bees and Marios.
Dude, the bees.
The Quiet
what
Place.
It's like to
with
be.
farting. It was like, all right, but that was basically, and then some other stuff on the crew channel. But I don't know. It's like maybe I got to turn up the spice meter a little bit. And
wasn't that also in that behind the scenes video? There's that moment where it's like you're saying it's like we try to make these high production value videos, and it cuts to the fart video.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just kind of, or like I forget the context of it, but it was definitely an ironic pairing of what you were saying with the video of you guys in diapers.
yeah, totally. Yeah, I don't know. Once again, yeah, it's real high level stuff, but yeah, it's. I'm not sure
I think there's so much opportunity for where Gaussian splats can go.
Yeah.
And I honestly strongly believe the Mario video you just finished is like probably the best example of utilizing splats in a creative way.
Probably, yeah.
At least in an extensive short film sort of way.
Well, I was jogging the other day and I was thinking like, what else can you do with it? And like, it's like, I was thinking like making a flying tutorial would be a good video where it's like
flying tutorial.
It's like, hey guys, had another one of those dreams where I was flying again. I think I cracked it in real life. Let me show you guys how to fly here. So it puts the camera on the head. So you don't want to have your feet on. You don't want to have your eyes on your feet. You want to be looking ahead. And it's just basically for the majority of the flying. Like once you take off, literally you animate it with your phone. I know, but you're just getting the data from it.
Are you talking about where you just like
you do this, you do this, and then you scale up. You scale up the flight path basically.
That's cool.
In your scenes, and that way it basically that's what would get you around the whole like, wait, why don't you just fly a drone around and do this? You know, because it's like no, we're like we'll see like we're actually flying in a way that is impossible for a drone. It's so I think that could be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that could be cool.
Random idea.
I know Octane Render, next year's version, the 2025 Octane Render, or maybe it's 2026. I'm not sure how the
Thanks, Andy.
number system works out, but you can now render splats inside of Octane.
Yeah.
But what I don't know is whether or not those splats are volumetric in the way that it will influence lighting and shadows on any scene or anything you render inside of it. Because that's what I really want. It's like,
Jeez.
it makes sense. It's like if you have a splat and you have all of like the direction dependent reflections, you should be able to infer the lighting of that environment more than just like an HDRI, which everything is just infinitely far away. It's like you have a sphere that's just like at infinity away, and those pixels are influencing what that color of light should be. But when you have proximity-based lighting, which is what I usually try to do because it looks more realistic, it's like basically projecting an HDRI onto geometry or just getting a 3D scan of a scene and then having the texture of that emit light. It's a hard thing to kind of balance because then you end up getting rid of some shading and whatnot. But you get really, really good reflections and distance dependent reflections. Like if you have a car, for instance, or like some sort of really shiny object that's sitting on the ground. If it's an HDRI, the ground is going to look as far away from that shiny object as the sky or the trees in the distance. But if you have it like in 3D space, the ground is going to appear much larger in those reflections because it's right next to the object.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that is like, most people don't think about when they're like, oh yeah, just throw an HDRI in the scene.
Yeah.
When we were doing the
agree.
first Graymatter with the hallway shot, I had to consciously decide to have the characters not turn their flashlights on until a later point in the story because you can't use flashlights that got the Gaussian splats.
Oh,
Gaussian
yeah.
splats. Sorry. Gaussian splats.
There's just enough people out there that are like, thank you
Oh
for
my
trying to pronounce the name correctly. Then I'm like, all right, I guess I'll keep doing that.
Gaussian.
I'm just a quiet guy, by the way, Zach.
Hey,
Yeah.
so-
The microphone's probably fine. I have a soft voice.
yeah, I think your ears are a little low. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Zach, you have great ears. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, being able to like Gaussian splats would be cool.
Gaussian splats.
Graymatter 2 is almost done. It's going to be called Superposition because that's what the chat /Sam suggested last week. So Superposition is almost done.
Sweet.
Yeah.
You're not going to call it Graymatter 2 : superposition?
Putting a 2 on the end of something is a great way to make sure it gets only 60% of the views the first one gets.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Unless it's so popular that that is the driving force.
Yeah.
Premtech 2. Although, did we even call it
no,
Premtech 2?
no, it's
Premtech 2?
primitive technology : and then what it
Zom-
and then
or-
subject.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
remember. What if, I mean, have we ever discussed like going back and trying to make another Bosstown video or another Premtech video?
I think it's a perfect time to do it with Elon Musk's Tesla bots that are going to be part of the Department of Government Efficiency.
Wait, what? I haven't heard this.
This is the video.
Oh, I see.
So that maybe this is a good sign. A billionaire actually replacing live people with his AI robots. Actually replacing literally replacing jobs with literal robots. I feel like there's something in there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There's something in there somewhere. Not quite sure where.
Not sure what it is.
Because the thing that made the first Boston Dynamics video work so well was the simple idea that people are abusing robots and you feel bad for them.
Yeah.
That is like the main thing.
Yeah.
And then the second one was like, but what if we gave them guns?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, there's perhaps more there, but it's always tough because like there's also like the novelty of like, oh, people haven't done CG robots like this yet. Like they haven't done the style. They haven't. It's like, you know,
Like the truth
it's
is,
like the cinema world wasn't aware of Boston Dynamics by the time.
yeah, I don't even know if like no one was really truly aware of it in this sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also a thing too. It's like it'd be fun to go back and make them, but realistically, like, you know, this is even the problem I fall into with like the Mario video too. It's like we did it, you know, and
Yeah.
since we did it, everyone else is now aware of it and has done it in their own sense. There's other parody videos now.
Yeah, I've
Like,
seen a
it's-
lot of the Tesla bot videos over the last couple years.
like that we created a small like a subgenre of YouTube basically, and other people have ran with it, and it's been years. So
There's
yeah.
literally a video that someone sent me like in the last couple days where it's like Kim Kardashian walking around a mall or something like that, and there's a couple Tesla bots just following her around holding shopping bags and stuff like that. And everyone's like, is this real? And it's like, no, you're stupid.
Well, okay, so then maybe this is a good time to do it.
I mean, but yeah, my point is that like there's a lot of people doing these the Tesla bot in real life type things because it's not
I
really
think
that hard of an
It's
effect
not that
to
hard,
do.
but I think it's
If
a
you
good
know
time to do
3D
it because of like just like because of how political it now is. I think that's the best part about it, where you can like, it's not just like, oh, it's a Tesla bot. It's like, ha, it's a Tesla bot. You know, I think there's some
Yeah.
you know, some goofs there, especially with him trying to like effectively take over the government and everything. It's like,
I think
it's
there's
a perfect time for it.
I think there's a challenging thing about making those kind of videos for Corridor, in that like in this day and age, the VFX can't take a long time. It can't, like, your video's not special because it has visual effects in it anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it's the idea that's special. Like, oh, I can't believe they did that. You know, it's like that's what makes it special.
Yeah, totally.
So if it's like, wow, the craftsmanship, that must have taken you months. Like,
well, like the
that
base
doesn't get you views
the
anymore.
thing is, but that's the thing. The baseline is it has to look really good.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Where it's like, okay, obviously, if we were to do another video, we would make it look really good and spend a lot of work doing that. Cool. So,
But it would have to look better than what we've done in the past. Because
I think what we did in the past is already solid.
I mean, I agree. I don't
even think it has to. It's just conceptually, it has to push the limits further.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking like, yeah. I'm not gonna say that. Now you want to know what I said, probably. Anyways,
10 was Loire says, I believe there were a change in the type of ideas after Clinton left the crew. Of course there was. There's always a change in the type of ideas anytime anybody leaves. Everybody brings a flavor to the crew. But, you know.
Yeah.
Plus, also, we just kind of change year to year in general. So it's like.
Who wants to do the same thing for 15 years in a row? Also, if you don't evolve, everybody else is going to leave you behind. Your art will get stale. You always got to change.
I mean, I'm still really happy about the friggin' Gallium Terminator video. Like, actually doing the liquid Terminator effect practically was something I've been thinking about doing for 2 years. Finally did it. Someone was asking why not just 3D print the mold itself rather than having to go through the whole process of doing the silicone stuff? And it's like, because 3D prints aren't flexible. And if you're going to cast something, you got to be able to get the thing out of the mold. Yeah. And it's got to be flexible. You can, of course, try to do like a 2-part mold, and that can give you a little bit more leeway, but it still has to be flexible enough to actually pull the thing out of. Yeah. I hung out with Nerdforge quite a bit over the weekend. They're another YouTube channel. They got 3 or so million subscribers. They're from Norway. Part of our Gallium video was kind of modeled after, it's funny, Daniel was calling it, I want to do this section Norwegian style. I'm like, Norwegian style. Basically, it's like right before you do the thing, you say the thing that you're going to do. It's like, I'm going to take the mold and fill it with this. And then you do all that and you get that in B-roll. Then when the next step happens, it's like, then I'm going to fill it with Gallium. And you do that step and whatnot. And it's just like a montage of that. But then we quickly cut away from that because that's when stuff started going wrong. The mold was leaking and it just went to chaos.
That's such a good video.
I was happy with it. That was an example of a good video that was very long. That was like a 20+ minute video. But also, you know, there's opportunity cost in making videos like that because that video took about 6 weeks to make. And you know, I'm like, I got to try to make these videos in less than a month. And this was way over that. and yeah, so it's like people want more of that sort of thing. But I don't think they also acknowledge that by doing more of that thing, they get fewer videos in general. And I don't know if they want that either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
tricky.
you want to cheapen it though? I don't know. Like something special about a video that is hard to do.
Sure. No, absolutely. And that's why I think we just continue with the ideas. Like, yeah, we knew going into this video was going to be hard. There's going to be a lot of trial and error and things just not working and just it's going to need more time to get it done. But at the same time, there's not a correlation between how hard a video is to make and how many views it will get. We learned that a long time ago whenever you made Real GTA. Sam basically did the entire video by himself in a single week. And it was the most viewed video on the channel ever. It got like 4 million views in the first day. It made
crazy.
Like 30 different news articles. I remember making a montage of like screenshots of all the news articles that like recorded on it.
That was stressful.
We were in the news. Our video was that viral.
Yeah. That was 2015. Yeah. Meanwhile, like that was the thing. That was the very beginning of the era of like GoPros on gimbals.
Right.
Like GoPro gimbals had just come out. I'd gotten one. It was super cool. And we filmed Mario Skate. It was a really perfect use of a GoPro on a gimbal. But that video also took me like 5 or 6 weeks to make. And in that time, we also made Real GTA. And it came out before Mario Skate did. So yeah, I've just like, you know, it's about whether or not the video is good, not how hard the video is to make at the end of the day. No one cares how hard it is, just whether or not it's good. And part of the equation of whether or not it's good is if they can tell whether or not you care and if you're trying hard on it. But it's not the end all be all.
Dude, it's just like those magicians, man. Trying to come up with the best trick, coming up with a new combination of mirrors to make something disappear in a way that somebody's never seen before. And the other guy's like, no, I just get in a box and escape it. And people think it's really cool. It's just about how you sell it.
Daniel and I are planning a new video in the new year that I hope will be relatively interesting. It'll also be kind of a departure for Daniel's and I partnership on these videos, because this is a video he is passionate about and he really wants to lead. But Daniel also refuses to ever be on camera anywhere. So he's going to be leaning on me to host the video, but it's like his passion project. So I'm like, okay, basically it's a stop motion 3D printed video, which we don't exactly know how it's going to work out yet, but he's very passionate about it. So it'll probably end up happening. Basically just like, imagine every frame of a stop motion thing is a new 3D print.
Yeah. That's
That's
really
crazy.
cool.
That's crazy.
So it's going to be a lot of 3D printing, a lot of 3D printing.
A lot of filament.
yeah.
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 We're going to keep them small.
Oh yeah, relatively small, probably just like 4 to 6 inches tall or so.
Okay.
And there'll probably be some degree of like recycling a lot of these things, shredding them up and making new filament with, or probably
So,
giving them to
Are
someone
you
who
going to previs the whole thing though?
probably
'Cause
some sort of
if you're going to
previs.
have all the models,
Yeah, no, like yeah,
you
obviously you got to make the whole thing.
You can make, you can just digitally do the whole video first and make
Yeah.
sure it looks perfect.
Yeah,
And then print them out and
and on top of that, he had an idea of like, what if we actually take all of these 3D printed pieces and I sign them and we bring them to Open Source next year and give them away to all the fans who say hi.
that's a cool idea for video. You guys should think about doing like run cycles or things that can loop within the video. So that way you're not just like making every frame unique.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what the concept is, but I'm just saying like,
Well, that's part of the R&D Daniel's currently working on. He's also trying to figure out if there's a way where we can separate like my feet from my legs, from my torso and arms from my head, so we can print those pieces individually, so you don't have to reprint the same head every single time. And so you have like one head that actually lasts throughout like the course of several seconds, because it's just me like doing this, and you're only replacing like the torso and whatnot. So something along the lines of that. Yeah, we'll see. Because and people have kind of done this before. People have done like 3D printing or stop motion things before. So the question is, how do we do this in a unique way that
What if you
one's
motion
tried?
captured your character?
That's part of what we're going to try to do. So it's like maybe motion capture, some motion, and transfer that to the 3D model, and then you break that into
Holy
individual
shit.
frames.
Dude,
holy shit. Wait a second. That's fucking crazy.
motion capturing
Wear
somebody.
a mocap suit and then basically just do your animation, and then you volume build that. You volume mesh your model and then just print out every fucking frame.
Well, that's the current plan.
that's
That's what we're talking about, where it's like that's a lot of filament. So like once you get to that point, instead of like volume meshing it, it's like you have a rigged piece with multiple pieces on it already.
No, then you're just trying to like make
Well,
a
he also
stop-motion
wants it to be
studio.
multicolored, and multicolor prints are kind of a wasteful thing currently. So it's a bit of a thing of like, can we just print this piece as one color and then assemble it on the other piece
But
that's
that's
one
the thing.
color?
The moment you say assemble, you're like, now you're just doing traditional stop motion. You're building like a traditional armature with interchangeable modular pieces. It's like that's how stop motion is done. So I feel like I think you got to figure out whether you want to have like the niche be, okay, this is like a trick done specifically with printing, or printing to get the animation, versus I'm just making a stop motion piece and I'm making modular stop motion characters. Because that's just like, now you're competing with Leica.
Sure, yeah.
It'd be really cool to see stop motion like fluid sim or like a physics sim also.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Like doing cubes falling and like printing out the different, like figuring out how to connect them or whatever. And like,
Yeah, it could be a person trapped in a
Or a
box
splash.
and the water's filling up.
That'd be cool.
And it's a water sim with mocap, but it's all printed.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like, how can we leverage this to like, what can 3D printing specifically do that no other medium can allow? And it's stuff like that, like actually having like a liquid sim, but it's like a solid piece flowing through. Maybe there's a moment where I'm like surfing on a wave or something like that.
I think you just gotta commit to lots of filament.
Yeah, and it'll
Yeah.
probably end up being another partnered video with Bamboo, and they've already said it's like, we will get you all the filament you need. They've also got a brand new printer coming out early next year that'll probably help this a lot too, so we'll see how that goes.
That's cool.
I guess I was gonna say like, what makes a new printer so much better? I was like, probably can't talk about it.
Well, I don't also really know anything about the new printer. There's like rumors it's going to be a much larger print area, both like left and right and up. Another rumor is that it's going to have multi-print heads. So like right now, the problem is that like you have a single print head, but you can have 4 different filaments going through it. But whenever you change out filament, you have to purge a lot of that filament to like empty it out before the next filament can go through. Otherwise, you get like color contamination and stuff like that. And that is a wasteful process. You end up spending about, if you have a it's the example I like to see a lot is the like little clownfish, you know, like Finding Nemo. It's orange, it's got some white in there, some black. But every layer, it's having to switch between different filaments like 2 to 3 times per layer. And every time per layer it's doing that, it's purging a whole lot of that filament. So you end up wasting more filament in the purging than you do in the actual print itself. Like you can have this little print that weighs like, you know, I'm just going to arbitrarily throw out a very high number. Let's say it weighs like 100 grams, but the waste filament could be 300 grams. It's like ridiculous. So if you have multi-material print heads, which Prusa has something that kind of like does this, but it still has a lot of purging, then you can have one head ready to go with one color and the other head ready to go with a different color, and it just swaps out and you don't have any purging waste. We'll see. That's the hope, but no one's achieved it yet, so we'll see.
Have you seen the pictures of the shop in Rome selling like 3D printed like Caesar heads for like
Dude,
$400?
And they're not good prints. No, like I follow the 3D printing subreddits and everyone's clowning on it, being like, what the heck? Like I get selling a nice high quality 3D print for a lot of money. Like it's a bespoke thing. It can be very good. Like at this Dragonsteel event, I saw a lot of like D&D dice towers that, you know, they're like this big and multi-materials in them. They're very nice, high quality. They're very specific to like this theme from a fantasy novel or something like that. And, you know, they're upwards of like $100 to $200. It's like, okay, that makes sense. Even though it's maybe only like $10 worth of filament, but then factor in another 100 hours of print time and all the care. It's like all the time of like the artist actually going through and making it. You got to account for all that. So I get it. But then you see all these prints at these gift shops and it's like a single color print. The quality is bad. There's like all these weird like lines and glitches in print artifacts and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, $350. Like, who in their right mind is buying that? That's when you're just like, dang,
it's a scam at that point, I guess. Yeah,
feels a little like a scam, but
yeah, I've seen them.
If people are buying that, is it? They're making the choice to buy the thing they're getting. They're getting exactly what they're paying for.
It's not a scam, but it's definitely silly.
Well, I guess so. It's just, well, I guess it depends on your perspective. Is it a scam? No, that's the wrong word. But if you're active in 3D printing already, then yes, it's a scam. Like it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of like
I hear you.
It's like watching someone clearly buying a low quality item, a poor quality, poorly built item, when
but
you
like
know that
price.
is like you're like, wow, I can't believe you're selling them. It's just, you know,
kind of like how I feel about name brand clothing.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. When you know, it's like if I saw someone go to a store and pay $1,000 for like a Temu guitar,
right?
You know, I would be able to tell. I know I could break this down for you. So it's the same thing, you know.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
like sure. Is it? But at the end of the day, is it ethical? Yeah, I don't know. No, kind of. No, kind of. Actually, no. Actually, no. There we go. No.
Yeah, it's like the person buying it doesn't know any better, and that's, you know.
Yeah, that's because that's what it comes down to. If the person buying it doesn't know any better,
that's true. If you're taking advantage of someone's ignorance,
you know,
it's like, well, but they willingly did it. It's like, yeah, but still,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, but if you're at the gift shop and you see the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and you're like, hey, that's pretty cool, and anyone else is like, yeah, that's a low quality 3D. You can get this way better, but they don't know any better, and they still think that's cool, and they're willing to throw $200 at this, you know, 20-inch tall 3D printed Tower of Pisa. I mean, that's...
Oh, you're right, because then you have even bigger, broader, like, values in the eye of the beholder.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, is it a scam to pay $400 for a bottle of alcohol at a club? Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I'm kidding. Actually,
But not if you're like dancing to like techno music, and then you're like,
And because like I feel like in
I
those
don't know, whatever you do
situations,
at a
it's
club.
less about whether or not that bottle is worth $400 and more about the fact that people see you spending $400 on
Right.
something. It's like the big baller status, you know? It's
Mhm.
like it could be a bottle of water, but the fact that you dropped $400 on
Like,
this, everyone's
damn.
like, ooh, who are you? You got money. I want to come say hi.
you have an Xbox under the TV?
you're self scamming.
Is that a PlayStation 4?
Who's this hot
How much
shot
was that?
walking out of the gift shop with the Leaning Tower of Pisa? Like, ooh, I want to get with him. Look at that 3D printed dragon.
Man. Yeah, baby. This
Hot shots walking out there with $1,000 dice tower. That's it.
Man, I'll take the Coliseum Dice Tower and the Leaning Tower Pisa Dice Tower, please. Man.
That's funny.
Dude,
That's funny.
quick pivot though. I've been playing Half-Life Alyx on the
Again?
Quest 3, and it has been incredible. And it's because we talked about this on a recent podcast. You're like, isn't VR kind of plateauing? Like, what are some good games? I'm like, Half-Life Alyx, and you're like, exactly. That game's 4 years old. And it's like, yeah, but it is so good. It's so good. And now there are some other games coming out that are really cool. The new Batman game is apparently really good. There's a Behemoth, which is, I think,
Yeah, I just
It just
downloaded
came
that.
out?
Yeah.
I watched a video of that, guys. I'm sorry. I don't. Is there hype behind this
Behemoth?
game? It looks so dumb.
Behemoth?
Yeah,
It's the people that made the Saints and Sinners game.
the combat looked so bad.
Really?
So
I don't
it
know.
looked
I was
amazing to
watching
me.
it. I was
Did
like,
you watch
what
the
is-
same video?
I don't know. I watched part of a playthrough, and it just looked janky as heck.
It's probably because the person fighting is just a janky person. Remember, it's VR.
This is also-
VR looks good when D plays it. It looks bad when other people play it.
I don't know. It just looked like it didn't have the nice visceral like animations or combat or anything. It's
I haven't played it
I
yet.
don't know. What was that?
But this is the part
medieval
where I
one,
come
the
in
Might
and say
Magic
that-
one or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Behemoth, Nick's dad worked on Behemoth.
Nice. I don't know. I'm just sorry. I watched it and then like I've played so many good VR games with great combat and I watched it and I was like, what? It's like I see swords clipping through stuff and like things aren't like using physics or even like IK to like. I was like,
Oh no, Behemoth's all about physics and IK. And
okay, well maybe yeah, you're right. Could have been just the person playing it was an idiot.
Well, maybe. Yeah, dang. I hope they didn't. I mean, when I saw it, it was like, oh, this is everything I loved about Saints and Sinners, which was the physics and IK. But like, here's
Saints and Sinners was fun.
Yeah.
And there's one other, Metro Awakening. I just got that one, but I
Mm.
haven't played it yet. But everyone's raving about that one too. It's more of like a horror-based game. Feels a little like Half-Life Alyx. But it's like we're starting to get these games that are actually getting like high investment in them, and it's no longer
Yeah.
just like this indie like thing where it's like it's a fun little game that maybe lasts like a couple hours, and it's got just like some simple mechanics executed very well. My favorite example of that is Knock, which is just bow and arrow based Rocket League.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Knock is so good.
I don't have a Quest 3, but the biggest problem I had with the Quest 2 is you couldn't bring the controllers too close to the headset or else they'd glitch out.
No issues with
Which-
that with the Quest 3.
Yeah, the Quest
Okay.
3 controllers are very
Because
good.
that was the worst thing for shooters. The moment you have like a rifle and a shooter and you have to do this to aim it.
yeah.
And it's like, it goes like, "Grrrr," and like,
yeah, no,
yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. And yeah, the controllers have improved dramatically. And it's still a little bit of a problem whenever you try to like hold your hand behind your head.
Yeah.
That's the only part where the Quest 3 controllers fall apart. But what you can do is get the Quest Pro controllers. They're a little expensive. They're like $200 or something like that. And they have cameras built into the controllers.
Oh wow.
So they just work no matter where they are.
Wow.
I've talked with some players on Knock who are like, yeah, I wanted to get better, so I got those controllers.
Wow.
Because now they can actually like be aiming a certain direction with their face and have the
Yes.
controller way behind their head the other direction where it can normally be tracked.
The
And
other
they
thing
can-
about like the Vive, like that even like
Yeah.
when the Quest 2 got around like to being released, it's like, no man, like there's something about like really not having to worry about like obscuring your controllers at
Totally.
all. That was really cool. Have you guys seen the Warhammer episode of Secret Level?
No,
Nope.
I've not watched any secret level yet.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be bringing it to React next week.
Okay.
So
I mean,
Um,
tomorrow?
You don't want
Next
to wait
week.
for Tim Miller
Oh,
to come back on the
next
couch for that?
is he coming back?
Wait, he is?
Well, I mean, yeah.
We're gonna try.
I don't know, maybe.
So
Low pressure.
when Tim Miller
Anyways.
came by, of course, Tim Miller, executive producer on all the Love, Death, and Robots videos or episodes, director of Deadpool and Terminator Dark Fate, legendary Blur studio executive. Yeah, he was telling us about like this Amazon show about video games that he was working on. And we're all kind of like, okay, cool. Don't really know anything about that. And he's like, yeah, I'm trying to work into the budget or into the deal that we can actually utilize Amazon servers for rendering and whatnot outside of the budget for the show. Cause that would cost millions of dollars. I remember thinking, man, this guy gets it. This guy really understands like how to make a visual effects like thing. And then fast forward, you know, a year plus, and I totally forgot about all of that. And all of the secret level stuff starts dropping recently. And I don't know anything about it until Griffin dropped on Discord this morning being like, we should get Tim Miller to come back and talk about secret level. I'm like, it all just clicked in that moment. I was like, oh my God, this is that. This is that. Super cool. So I'm probably going to follow up on that and watch some of that. So which episode did you want to?
I think it was episode 4, but it's a Warhammer 40K episode.
Okay.
And they got Sayama Peterson to come in and do layout. So he helped him frame up the shots and come up with the sequences and stuff like that.
Who's this?
Who?
The Stardies guy.
Oh, okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Why'd you say his name as if we knew his name? He was always a Stardies.
The Astartes guy.
Well, you're right. I should have said. So I looked it up and I wanted to make it sound like I knew what I was talking about.
So the guy who made the super incredible 40K like YouTube short films,
yeah, he did
worked
work
on the
it.
official thing. That's a smart move.
Yeah.
It's a smart move for the lore. It's a smart move for the
He should be-
optics.
he
It's a
needs to be
smart move
working
for
on
getting a
every-
good final piece.
He should like Games Workshop should just have him pumping out animations as much as possible. Period.
I don't know how. Yeah. How is he?
They
not
should
a
just be
full-time
pouring money
hire?
into him. It will pay off in all their sales for everything going up 5x.
It's like, do they want to have like widespread mass appeal, like true mainstream?
Yeah.
Warhammer truly being mainstream, he could do that.
Yeah.
Did you see his other trailer that he was working on? The other piece he's working on?
A while back.
It's really cool.
But yeah,
Tim
anyways,
Miller or the Astartes guy?
The Astartes guy.
the Warhammer episode is super cool. And
He's got
like
another thing.
it has a little bit of like the mix of like tactical magic and like space troopers going on in the episode. And it's like, yeah, this is what I'm here for. They did it. They brought it. It was really cool.
I still
really
can't get
good use
over
of volumetrics.
like when we looked at that Astartes film and like the dude's eyes crack and it's filled with a bunch of what looked like blood puddles at the time.
Mhm.
And everyone's in the comments, actually those are camera lenses and all of this stuff. And I'm like, what? And I go back and I look and I'm like, yeah, they are. Yeah, those are lenses inside of the eye. But just like the shot is over in like half a second and it just looked like blood.
Yeah, I always thought it was blood too. Yeah. Did somebody gets burst inside of their armor? It's pretty cool.
What are some of the other games from this secret level show?
Oh, there's a Concord episode.
Concord?
There's a Concord episode
God.
that they had like Sony had like committed to, and they paid for it, and they're like, we're not gonna just delete the episode, guys. So there's a Concord episode.
I don't know. What is Concord?
Concord is the Overwatch clone that Sony put like $400 million into.
They spent a
Oh.
decade working on it and spent $400 million, and they closed the servers within what, like a month of
6 days.
6 days?
That is so crazy.
Yeah.
6. Isn't that kind of like a rash decision?
Dude, that's fast from the
6
earth
days?
was
No, they
formed.
knew immediately it was not going to go anywhere. So it's like, no, close it down, spend another 2 years on it or a year on it, have another team come in that can put in
They're
all the
gonna
gross
they're gonna
microtransaction
re-release it?
stuff. I'm sure they're going to re-release it.
They're probably just gonna
Whoa.
reskin it.
You know, like, look, it's honestly, it's kind of a playbook at this point. You're a giant corporation. You got something people don't like, but now it's like everybody knows about it. Take it back, sit on it. Probably don't have to do that much. Make it free to play. Come back a year later, be like, here it is. And I was like, oh, you guys did great. You guys fixed it. You're back. I mean, like,
You listen to
you know,
us.
every company does it. And you have to
Yeah.
put in work. You do have to put in work on the game and stuff, but still, it's like,
I mean, is that a bad thing?
a lot of times I don't feel like there's actually any real material change with these games. Like it's the same underlying core game at the end of the day. So, you know, but I think that's just the whims of the public. Like everybody's like, we're angry. And then you disappear for a while and you come back and everybody's like, okay, it was actually better than I thought it was. You know, everybody just likes to hogpile on things.
What are some of the other games in this show, though? I'm like very curious. I could look this up, but like,
There's a couple of obscure ones. There's a Pac-Man episode.
okay. Hey, someone in the chat, lay out all the games.
Yeah. Oh, there's a Dungeons and Dragons episode, I guess. I'm so wary of, I'm very careful about watching D&D content
Why is that?
because I don't want it to ruin Dungeons and Dragons for me. Like, I enjoy playing Dungeons and Dragons, but like, there's definitely an aspect of like the community in D&D that like I do not like. And if it gets too much ingrained with my experience of D&D, it'll taint my experience of D&D.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's like
interesting.
I like playing games with my friends and not like it's like yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like D&D isn't it's the eye of the beholder thing too. It's like
Yeah.
D&D is only cool if you enjoy playing it with certain specific people. It's not like you suddenly are like, oh, woohoo, everything about it is cool. I like the lore. I like this.
I love Neverwinter and the lore of
yeah.
the Sword Coast.
It's like, hey, and also let's somehow boil down the jokes of 1,000 different friend groups and try and make a mono joke that everyone thinks is funny now.
Yeah, I think I should say it's the Funko Pop side of D&D that I don't like. Like the brand identification of like, I love Dungeons and Dragons because I'm a nerd.
What happened?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Sorry, everyone.
What happened?
Recording's fine. I was just...
I love like we're talking about D&D and ripping on it, and then we look over and we're just like, oh no. Like, what happened? Sam just like psionic blasted everybody.
Cool reference. Do you play D&D?
I've realized the main reason why I don't enjoy D&D is rolling dice. I don't like that I can put in all of this effort and have a really good idea, all for it to come down to luck. Because I mean,
well, it's not that luck based.
Well, sure, and you can have all of the stats to kind of pad your dice and opportunity rolls and all this stuff. Sure, whatever.
But there's a DM. There's a human being that decides.
Well, I know that, but I'm just saying it's like.
Oh, I get it. It's personal.
yes, very true. It is. There is a degree of personalness to it, but I don't know. It's like. My favorite thing about D&D is the lateral thinking, like the creative problem solving, that we can all just agree that this is how we get out of this situation and this is how we can move through this. And it's all like a story that's being built. I love that about D&D. But then when it comes down to it, it's like, okay, I'm going to do my attack and I roll a dice and it's just going to be whatever luck has. That's why I don't gamble. I don't like gambling because I don't like the element of luck. I like skill-based stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I don't know. That's just kind of been my realization about D&D, because I've always been like, do I really not like D&D, or do I like playing? And there's just some aspects to it. And I think is that there's just like a couple aspects that I'm just like, I also just hate keeping track of stats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My brain does not like tracking stats.
Well, maybe you should play Warhammer then, because I think there's dice in Warhammer, but it's a lot more tactical and like
okay.
It's
exact.
like rulers and stuff like that.
Everyone has like measuring tapes and stuff.
I think I'll just stick with my video games. But that being said, the most fun I've ever had playing D&D was Son of a Dungeon. That was such a good time.
That was a great time.
But it was also like the most luxurious type of D&D game I could have possibly experienced.
Yeah, it really
having
is.
multiple producers helping facilitate a game, having like the most epic game board, having a very talented DM, dang it, like running it all, and like between you and Carmichael making sure like everything's running smoothly.
It's luxury D&D. It doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, and it's like, so of course I'm gonna enjoy that.
Of course you are.
And I spent like 4 or 5 years playing Starfinder, which is like a sci-fi D&D based thing.
Starfinder.
With my friends from Portland, and yeah, we played for like probably like 4 or 5 years, and eventually I was just like, I don't want to play this game anymore. It's all just like we're playing over like Zoom, and there's like Roll20 we're playing on and stuff, and it's like I do my thing, and then I wait for everyone else to do the thing, then I do my thing, I wait for everyone else to do the thing, and I do my thing again. It's like yeah.
People have a weird relationship with games. I've been playing Flight Simulator a bunch.
Oh, I want to though.
And there's a career mode in Flight Simulator. And I look at it like, okay, like to unlock like search and rescue missions, I need to do 5 soft landings. Like, okay, so like my next 5 missions, I'm just gonna like really focus on my landings. Like, oh, and if I do 2 of these types of missions, I unlock aerial advertising where I get to pull banners. Okay, so I'm gonna like focus on those missions. And it's like, oh, I can take my test to like fly tail dragging aircraft, which lets me land on dirt runways now. And it's like, oh, and if I do like 5 dirt runway landings, I get to do like backcountry search and rescue missions. So like I've been playing the game like that, where it's, you know, you're taking missions and like you do a couple of these and you like get stats above here. It unlocks these new missions. And there's also like a money side of it where you earn money to like pay for your license test and you can buy planes. And I'm not making a lot of money doing these things, but like, you know, I'm focusing on do good landings, unlock this, do these missions, unlock this.
Okay.
You know, I'm having a great time. And I go online, like, all right, how are people enjoying this career mode? What's the, how are people making money? And everybody's like, this career mode is broken. I have to
What?
fly the same plane for 10 hours straight to make just enough money to buy my next plane. And then I just have to grind that plane for 5 hours to make enough credits. And like, whoa, these people are playing this game wrong.
Whoa, okay.
They're focusing on a number, which you could go into like a text editor and change. It's like, why aren't they just flying for the missions and the flights and the experiences versus like watching their little number go up of like money and being like, oh, I just need to get that number higher and I'm going to have no fun with the game. I'm never going to try any missions. I'm not going to play anything else. I just need to see my credits go higher. And it's weird. Like people have this like attachment where they'll put it into like a number, a stat, a level, not really like, step back and think about like Dungeons and Dragons. Like if you hate a rule, just change the rule. Like if you're like, grinding for planes sucks. I'm not flying any plane I want. It's like, then don't grind for planes. Fly any plane you want. It's like, you can literally fly any plane you want in the game at any time.
I am because the new 2024 flight simulator has a bunch of VR controls native to it now.
Mm-hmm.
I've been seeing people like play in VR and it looks really cool. Do you have a HOTAS setup?
I do have a HOTAS set up.
HOTAS.
Man, the game's so good. Like it's not work. Like if you're playing the game like it's work, then you're playing it wrong. Like it's truly like adventures. Like take off from this airport, land in a mountain here. Like take off from this airport, fly through a canyon here. And it's like, I don't know. I've been having a lot of awesome experiences.
But yeah, I seriously recommend upgrading your Wi-Fi to Wi-Fi 6E.
Yeah.
Because then it's just like literally like full desktop quality VR with zero latency and lag. It's like shockingly good. So like being able to play Half-Life Alyx again, but not having any cords, I can like spin as many times as I want. It's been pretty nice. And so I'm like, okay, it opens up a whole new world of VR games because they're all like on the computer now. And so I'm like, I can maybe just like play some flight simulator stuff.
Yeah.
On the Quest 3.
I'd be a little scared of getting that game to run at the frame rate for VR, but maybe it does.
We're also playing on a laptop.
Yeah. Well, it is a
good laptop.
Nice laptop, but still, it does get very hot. Yeah. No, that game's amazing. So I've been loving it. Yep. Been getting good at landings, trying not to die. I've been making a point of trying not to have, because here's the thing, I'm pairing the game, I may have already said this last podcast, but I'm pairing the game with also watching like pilot debrief crash analysis videos on YouTube.
Oh, whoa.
So be like
at the same time?
Close to the same time.
It's like
watch
on
a
your
video
other
like
window,
breaking
you have-
down like, how like, oh, the engine died in the air on this and they screwed up the procedure for this and they should have approached the runway like this and they did this to go around, they screwed up this and then they crashed over here. And they're like, okay. And like I fly the same plane, I'm like, okay, now I need to do it right. Like I'm a real pilot. I can't crash. I can't kill my passengers. I need to make it a soft touchdown. I need to follow procedure with the ATC. It's just they figured out that what makes a flight simulator fun is pretending there's other people on your airplane that you can't kill.
Interesting. Okay.
So one thing to like fly around and screw around, and something thing to have somebody be like, I'm gonna get in your plane on the ground and I need to be put down on the ground over there without getting killed. You're like, okay, let's see if I can do it.
The stakes are high. People might
Yeah.
die if you mess this up.
And
Not
they
just
have
you.
And they have a skip button, which is the other best thing. You take off, you're flying in the air. It's like, okay, our other destination's 100 miles away. Skip.
Really?
Skip right to destination, and then you get to do the whole landing and all the fun stuff. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep. And you can also like time warp it. You can just speed up the simulation too, but
Sure.
you can just straight up skip boring sections now.
Huh.
They figured it out.
If only you could do that in real life on airplanes.
That's enough. That's enough talking up flight sim. I have a lot of work to do on superposition, aka gray matters. Gray matters 2.
It's about that time.
Yep.
And also we have earthquake people coming over to film today.
Yes.
That's right. We got an earthquake video coming out early next year.
Also, guess who's showing up? Do you guys follow Matt Newell, or his name's Caves RD or Lush Foil?
RD. Wait.
He does the Lush Foil.
Yeah.
photography
The
studio.
guy who's on the photography games.
Yeah. He's gonna swing by.
Oh,
What?
amazing.
Yeah, he's gonna come by in a little bit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a very packed afternoon.
Oh, that reminds
Oh,
me. I need to
boy.
get back to somebody about. Okay. The Chris and Jack guys also want to hang out.
Dang. Okay.
Oh, yeah?
I've been
Well,
really bad at following up with people socially the past 2 weeks. It's really stressful. Okay, guys, it's time for our after hours hangout with our quarterdigital.com people. So if you're listening to this on Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere else, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Consider joining quarterdigital.com to join us for a live episode where we get to hang out and talk and answer questions after we record the podcast.
And we'll
Yeah.
probably have one more podcast next week, and that'll be it until January.
Yes.
Yep.
So we actually take time off.
Pretty solid amount of time off too. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yep.
See you next week, everyone. Thanks for
All right.
watching. And 3, 2, 1.